Well, today we have Dr. Srini Pillay, who's the assistant clinical professor at the Harvard Medical School and also the author of The Science Behind the Law of Attraction. He's here to interview with the Foundation of Unity. Thank you for being here, Dr. Pillay.
Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Most appreciated. I'd like to just ask you 5 questions, and the first question is, what does unity mean to you?
Well, when I think about unity, really what I'm thinking about is just in the most generic way, it has to do with the coming together of things or people. And when I think about unity, I think about unity both in terms of thought and in terms of action. And I think about unity in terms of people and also in terms of an internal sense of being. Because I think that one of the things that stands out for me about unity is that when we seek to be unified, at some level externally, we're talking about being unified with each other, whether it has to do with personal relationships or unified with each other in the business context. But through all of those different experiences, really what we're seeking is some internal feeling of continuity that this external unity is able to provide.
Have you ever had a personal experience with unity or this type of connection that you're talking about between people and things?
Absolutely. At a literal level, I think I feel it in all of the personal relationships in my life where I'm connected to people. I think within the business context, I feel it with the different people in Neuro Business Group, which is like a coaching company that I run. But also, I think at a profound level, one of the experiences of unity for me happens in the meditational state, because I feel that in the meditational state, there's a sense of internal coherence, and there's also a sense of connection to the world. And I really appreciate what happens in that state, because in that state I feel that there's a training of the mind to become still in order to appreciate what is. Because, at a fundamental level, really what I feel is that unity is less about making something happen and more about seeing what is. Because the truth is, we can talk about not being connected or being connected, but the reality is that we have all these portals of connection. We have eyes, we have ears, we have all these ways in which we are automatically connected to the rest of the world. And as you know, one of my interests is brain science, and the phenomenon of mirror neurons and the phenomenon of empathy. Actually, so both of those ideas capture the fact that we are connected to things outside of ourselves.
That brings us to the next question about your professional connection with unity. How does it impact your professional work? And you've mentioned your counseling and coaching group, so you want to mention anything how unity fits with that?
Absolutely. Well, there are a number of different things that I do. One of the things that I do is I have a psychotherapy practice. And I think in relating to my clients, one of the things that I think we're always searching for is to accentuate a sense of meaning and to also simultaneously be able to create this internal sense of coherence. So I think the unity expresses itself in the connection with the client. And similarly, in the business environment, where I'm working with businesses that are often looking for some sense of coherence, some sense of communication between different levels of the organization, some kind of effective teamwork. In all of those different contexts, really what we're talking about is unity. So I feel that unity really expressed the whole reality of unity is it's not just about a coming together of things, but a coming together of things so as to optimize the specific goal that is at hand.
And what kind of a contribution would you like to make through your personal and professional work to the whole concept of unity?
Well, I think in my my personal relationships, I really would like to continue to express this idea through deepening levels of intimacy. I think that the same applies to my professional relationships. I think with my clients, what I seek to do is to bring this understanding of unity into the professional relationship so that people can feel enough of a sense of coherence to be able to plumb the depths of their own lives. And within organizations, what I'd like to do is to talk about unity in a meaningful way. Because, a lot of times I think when we mention the word unity, we talk about the positive aspects of unity. But I think there can be many situations in which there are challenges when people come together. And I think to be able to look at those challenges in a meaningful way, to be able to say, in this situation, the unity makes sense. In this situation, you may need to reconfigure the unity of the team. I think is a way in which I'd like to express myself so that people can begin to feel whole again.
Do you find there's a little dialectic in unity with this positive and negative, and how do you bring those together, if you do, or how do they unify? It's kind of the dialectic of the dialectic, I like to call it.
Absolutely. I think in general, in all logical constructs, there is a dialectic because there are positive and negative things. So what I do seek to do is to have people explore those things so that they don't feel bound to one side of it when they're uncomfortable about the other. Because a lot of times when we bring the message of unity to people, they're not really feeling connected to anyone else, and they're feeling frustrated. So to simply drop the notion of, well, why not be more unified and why be a team, I think can be alienating. So I think what we need to do is to really examine, like in the business situation, for example, what the priority is. If the priority is to create, for example, the most highly effective team to enhance innovation, there are different ways in which we need to be sensitive to the diversity within that unity so as to create the optimal team. So, I do believe that there is a dialectic involved, and I think at a literal level, we need to work with the diversity, and I think at a more abstract level, we need to learn how to transcend the external diversity to find what is common to everyone.
And that brings something that's new and creative through that process and connecting.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Because the more recent research in this has shown that there is an intelligence that's called a collective intelligence that can actually be greater than the sum of the different parts. And I think for all of us, we're looking to connect, not so that 1 + 1 is 2, but so that 1 + 1 is 11 or more.
And so what do you see as the future of unity and of this trend toward unity? Or
I think
all the efforts and your efforts in.
Well, I think the future is really applies to a number of different situations. I think that at an individual level, the idea of unity is really important because intimacy creates meaningful relationships, and when you have meaningful relationships, what you have is a place where you can explore your own being as well as other people. I think at the larger level, unity is an extremely important idea because we have limited resources on the planet. We have to find a way to live together, and I think within small organizations and within countries at every level, from the individual to small organizations to countries, this idea of how to share resources and how to somehow find a way to continue to manifest new ways of dealing with the challenges of unity is going to be a really important question.
You use the word intimacy in the relationships, and by connecting that way, we're able to have this collective intelligence. I think of the word intimacy from one of the spiritual disciplines as into me, see. There's some work to the whole process as well, and so as a therapist, you guide that work, facilitate that work, and help it to. You're kind of a catalyst for it. Would you consider yourself that way?
Absolutely, because I think at some level we construct our realities from our perceptions, and in order to explore other aspects of intimacy, part of the work of guiding that process is to be able to guide people out of this literal reality in connecting with someone, out of this perceptual reality, into a state where you feel connected even beyond form. So I think as a therapist, one of the things you can do is help alleviate people's anxieties around learning to connect beyond form. Because in order to do that, you really have to transcend simple perception.
Okay. And thank you. Those are great answers. As far as hearing somebody else speak on unity, maybe from a different discipline, any other way, who would you like to hear some thoughts from?
Well, in general, one of my passions has been to be able to talk about different subjects from completely different angles. So, at the professional level, one of the things I've always thought would be great is if you could get into a room, you could get a psychiatrist, an artist, a physical trainer, you could get a wine enthusiast. If you could get people who come from different fields of life in order to understand different perspectives so as to then construct some idea of unity. So my idea would be rather than just a simple present, to actually manifest the importance of unity by having a group discussion with a number of people so as to demonstrate in action how unity can come to be.
I think that's beautiful. We're trying to set that up a little bit here, but online it's definitely something that would be enhanced by having everyone together to just discuss and be live and immediate with the whole process and see what comes out as well. So, Dr. Pillay, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time to interview with us here at the Foundation of Unity, and wish you the best success.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here.
You're welcome.